Hello there. So we are in Fairfield, Iowa at a beautiful permaculture site, and our good friend Avi, who has been very hospitable and friendly to us, and we've been helping out in the garden. He's going to explain to us what we got going on here. He's pulling weeds there. So here he is going to explain some of what's going on here.
Hi there. My name's Avi Pogel, and I grew up in Fairfield, and I learned permaculture here. I took my first permaculture design certification course on this land 4 years ago, and then went out to Orcas Island and studied with the Bullock brothers on their 30-year-old homestead, and really increased my knowledge and passion for this subject. And we're standing in what we call the community garden. It's just a fenced garden because we have a deer problem, and it's really similar to what I guess many people would think of as a garden. There's blocks of beds with vegetables in them. We're growing a lot of annual crops here, even though there are perennial flowers interspersed throughout. But really, this whole landscape, circle around, look, is a garden. And I want to talk a little bit about what makes it so special that focusing on the entire landscape as a garden. And what we're doing is forest gardening. And so this is the annual vegetable garden, but right down the hill we have a garden of native trees, European and Asian fruit trees, as well as native prairie and a pond. And all of those things work together to create a harmonious system, and that's what we do in permaculture. It's integrated design, functional design.
Awesome.
You see the rainwater catchment system coming off of the cabin there that I live in, and it's how we passively collect and use water. And then our waste systems are also integrated, and we make a lot of compost here on the site that
Awesome.
goes into the fruit trees.
Cool. Well, let's head down and see some of these fruit trees.
One of the cool things we do is permaculture sites like this are also a depository of genetic information, and we have rare and unusual fruit trees like this tree, which is called a Shipova, which is a cross between a pear and a mountain ash.
Wow.
It's really delicious fruit.
That's really cool.
And then a lot of these trees are really young, so this is kind of a very young forest.
Uh-huh.
This is an American persimmon, and
Sweet.
American persimmon is an incredibly hardy tree and produces fruit that is quite high in sugar. Like 30% of the flesh when they ripen is sugar content.
Wow.
So they're very sweet. And the base of the tree, you notice there's this plant called comfrey. It was just planted this year. It's doing quite well, but it grows up and it shades out the grass, and then we can just cut it down and let it lay at the base of the tree, and we're mulching in place with the plant that grows in community with the tree, and it's called a multifunctional polyculture. Grass competes with fruit trees, because of their root structure, whereas the comfrey won't compete because it has a deeper taproot structure and less fibrous roots. But then also it brings up calcium from the minerals in the subsoil and makes those available in the topsoil where the tree's feeder roots are. And so this is another example of a functional interconnection and placing elements of a site together so that they perform more work.
Cool.
For us.
Yeah. They're working symbiotically, it seems.
And this is a little patch of native prairie, and it's quite wet this year, and so I see some sedges, which are wet-loving grass or wet-loving plant species, and as well as some, I think this is either big blue stem or little blue stem. It's a native prairie grass, and there's cut plant with the yellow flowers, and echinacea, the purple coneflower, and in the back we see some yellow flowering plants, which are, I think, the native astragalus, which is a medicinal herb.
Oh, here's the kitty.
This is my cat Winston, who
Hello, Winston.
grew up on this land. I adopted him as a kitten when we saw him this winter.
Cool.
So as we go down the hill towards the pond, we are going deeper into a little patch of forest that is, or young forest that is made entirely of fruit trees. It's another American persimmon, a pear tree, an apricot tree. There is a native oak there and a native cherry there. And here's another persimmon, This is called a hedge apple, which isn't actually an edible apple, but it's a really rot-resistant, tough wood, and it has these weird shaped fruits in the fall that you can put in your house and they keep bugs away.
Cool.
And
so it's more than just eating here. There's very multi-purpose
yes,
things.
absolutely. And one of my favorite trees is the pawpaw, which is the largest fruit native to North America.
Wow.
It's in the Latin name is Simna triloba, and it is in the same family as custard apple, soursop, cherimoya. So it's actually a hardy, temperate variety of a tropical fruit.
Sweet.
And it tastes like a tropical fruit. Sometimes the other names for it are Indiana banana, or well, other things. It looks kind of like a mango.
Cool.
But it flowered for the first time this year, even though there's no fruit set on it.
Sweet.
But they're really beautiful trees, and they grow well. Sort of, it's kind of in the shade. It gets some morning sun, but it gets afternoon shade, and they like that. These are some really healthy looking trees, and the seeds and the bark contain a compound that scientists are using as a cancer fighting drug.
Wow.
This actually has some of the most promise
Wow.
of all of the substances that they're researching.
Wow.
So this is a really great plant to have. And there's some nitrogen fixing trees thrown in there for good measure, a cherry tree, and a native cherry tree that needs to be dealt with. We had a really vicious windstorm come through last week, and that tree broke in a weak spot, so it's not a big deal. Just trim it out, the tree will be healthier.
Cool. And we swam in this pond several times while staying here. It's a wonderful pond. It filled naturally is what Avi told us. They just dug the hole and it filled with water. And here it is, a good swimming pond. So anything you want to say to wrap it up? Or is there anything else?
There's a lot more to permaculture than just plant systems. This is a rural site, a lot of social systems that we work with as well in terms of community organizing, energy systems, and it's just really thinking about the way humans live on the planet differently and being more conscious of our impacts and how when we do a good job, then nature gives us positive feedback. So just want to encourage everybody who sees this to take an interest in their surrounding environment and try to learn what it has to offer.
Right.
And give back as much as they can.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you guys for coming by.
Right on. Happy Sunday! This has been the Cultural Recyclists in Fairfield, Iowa. Peace out.